Welcome back to NewsTeam Boulder. I'm Emma Stanfill, and in today's show, we will be exploring issues that matter, from neighborhood votes to the edge of the universe, from public policy to everyday life. We're bringing you the stories that shape our community. A new ballot could change the way we walk along Boulder's Pearl Strip. Sophie Inglezos is here to tell us more.
I am standing here on Boulder's West Pearl Street Mall, where the road ahead may be paved with pedestrians kicking cars to the curb. The organization Pearl for You is collecting signatures to close off 9th through 11th Street for pedestrian-only use. Questions of how this will impact passerbyers and businesses are still steering throughout the community.
You can see the banners we've got outside.
Outside of Pasta J's restaurant.
We're not going to stop at anything.
Not even COVID-19 could stop them.
We're going to keep the street open. We'll do whatever it takes.
If the street is closed like how it was during the pandemic, businesses fear they will fail. Pasta J's survived.
We joked and said that it was like a bowling alley down here, but you could line up the pins and bowl them down the street because there was nobody walking around. Because the problem was people are parking 4 blocks away, parking in the surrounding areas, and on a cold Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday night, that's just too much of a hassle.
Back then, sales at Pasta J's fell 15%. The fear is that if the road is closed, it could happen again.
A lot of these other businesses have indicated they don't know if they're going to make it through this, which is why we've all come together.
According to the Pearl for You website, closing the street could remove 58 parking spots. Even RTD's The Hop service will have to drop their passengers off elsewhere.
We had a gentleman in here just the other day who was disabled, and he came in for lunch. And then, he got picked up on one of the buses, picked him up, and then dropped him off, and then, he was on his way again. That wouldn't happen if the street was closed.
While some fear the change, others see a fresh start.
A lot of sort of lively energy to this part of Pearl.
And a smooth ride for Chilson's skateboard, which he can't ride with the street still open.
Perhaps having the street closed sort of shifted the culture this part of downtown. I skated a lot. I really enjoyed it. I even wore through my shoes here. Very much enjoyed it. So I might like to see a return to that kind of culture here.
Pearl for You needs 3,400 signatures by May 28th, and they are almost halfway there. Once passed, City Council will have to pass it to get it on the ballot. With NewsTeam Boulder, I'm Sophie Inglezos.
Thank you, Sophie. You can sign the ballot by going to pearl4u.org/sign.
The Hubble Space Telescope has now been in Earth's orbit for 35 years. The 24,000-pound observatory went into low Earth orbit on April 24, 1990. To celebrate the anniversary, NASA released a collection of fascinating images recently taken by Hubble. The images include Mars, star-forming regions, and a neighboring galaxy. The Space Telescope has made nearly 2 million observations, viewing tens of thousands of astronomical targets.
Despite celebrating this milestone, we're still experiencing federal funding cuts to science departments across the country, which have dealt a significant setback to physics research. I visited local observatories in Colorado to learn how they're being affected.
Hannah Ferrero didn't fall in love with astrophysics in a classroom.
I was sleeping in my backyard under the stars with no tent and found myself writing this entire notebook about space facts. And by the end of the summer, I had this giant notebook, and I thought maybe this is something I should pursue because it didn't feel like work at all.
But for Hannah, along with many aspiring astrophysicists across the country, the dream is becoming a much more difficult climb.
It feels like a slap in the face from the government.
Astrophysics departments have seen up to a 50% cut in federal funding by the government just this year. And while this observatory is funded by university dollars, the trickle-down effect can have serious consequences for these spaces.
The trickle-down effects are going to be that we're not preparing our students to do science if we're cutting federal funding for doing research and that sort of things.
Both Chamberlain Observatory and Summers-Bosch Observatory prepare students with crucial skills like telescope operation certifications.
We have about 1,000 undergraduate students who get to use these telescopes.
But keeping equipment operational comes with a price tag.
Those funds also come from overhead, which is on the chopping block.
But even with a chopping block looming, Hannah stays hopeful, honoring the curious kid she once was that looked up in the night sky and let it shape her future.
I think this next generation of scientists are going to be this much more resilient and powerful, and we're a little bit angry, and I think it's going to help fuel that drive.
A mindset that requires one small step at a time.
Still ahead, a peek at the spring weather and how to defrost your garden with planting season coming up.
With warmer weather approaching, it's time for some garden spring cleaning. But that can mean more than just pruning. NewsTeam reporter Maddie McManus has more.
Raking, pruning, digging, and more raking. Not the most glamorous tasks, but it's a chore that must be done.
These are really nice for
Gail Lomar is driving the spring cleanup for the Edible Learning Garden at Boulder Public Library.
on the surface of the garden.
So the learning gardens, like today, we have volunteer action days where we call on community to come and help us. And spring cleanup is a huge seasonal task. Every year, people who tend the earth have spring cleanup tasks to work on. So it's really nice to have many hands to make light work and be able to come together and learn from each other, support each other, and grow together.
And beyond the laborious dirty work, these volunteers have found a deeper meaning within the dirt.
It's amending the soil, and that's life. You have to add beneficial nutrients to your core, your foundation, in order to see fruit. So that's a big part of it.
Another part is pruning away the old.
In the garden, pruning away the old allows the new growth to really thrive and come out and be as great as potential as it has.
Volunteer Liz Petoni has learned a similar lesson through gardening.
Change is happening, right? You can look back and say, this garden was dirt today in April, and in June it's going to be full of vegetables. So I think that's really helpful to see that right now it's nothing, but in 2 months there is hope. Maybe with my peas, we don't know, that we will have something that can be harvested and eaten, which is pretty cool.
Just like life, gardens can be messy, unpredictable, and full of weeds. But with a little bit of pruning, they can be transformed into something more beautiful. And with help from the community, a patch of dirt right outside the Boulder Public Library has been transformed into a garden bed full of potential. I'm Maddie McManus with NewsTeam Boulder.
Hey Boulder, it's Adair Tutin. It's been a week of severe weather, which means we are back to our usual spring storm season. We also received our first tornado warning since August. Sunny days cause warm ground temperatures, which can lead to instability in the atmosphere, which in turn can contribute to severe weather. Saturday sees a big warm up. A few showers are possible in the early afternoon, with thunderstorms potentially popping up after 3 p.m. Skies will be mostly sunny and will reach a high in the 70s. Winds will stay light but could gust up, which is typical for storm development. Starting Sunday night and into next week, chances of rain return with more showers and possible thunderstorms. For the last week of classes, buffs, we have quite the rainy week ahead of us. Highs will dip into the 60s before rebounding to the low 70s by midweek. Monday, we have a slight chance of showers and thunderstorms with temperatures in the 60s. We are expecting rain showers throughout the week and scattered thunderstorms arriving in the afternoons, with the possibility of wind. We'll continue to monitor for any severe weather alerts, especially as conditions stay unstable into early next week. Stay weather aware and tuned in for the latest. As I said in the beginning, we are in a severe weather season, and this might be a greater concern to anyone who does not speak English in our community. CNN's correspondent Maribel Gonzalez spoke with experts who say for many, this change could mean the difference between life and death.
Experts point to the fact that nearly 68 million people in the U.S. speak a language other than English at home, including 42 million Spanish speakers. This is according to 2019 census data. And without this service, that population could be in danger when disaster strikes.
I don't think anyone really prepared for it to be this high of water.
September 2024, Hurricane Helene hit western North Carolina, causing power outages, collapsed roads, and catastrophic flooding.
Him and me are both from Florida, so we've seen a lot of hurricanes, but I've never seen anything like this.
Despite the National Weather Service issuing alerts, the disaster claimed the lives of 107 people in the state.
There was a big article just a few months before the floods there that rated Asheville one of the safest places to live in the United States from a climate change point of view. And then they suffered massive, devastating, costly floods that they're still cleaning up from.
Without weather warnings, experts say the death toll could have been higher.
Weather alerts save lives. I mean, there's no question about that. If we know a hurricane is coming, if we know a tornado is coming, we can take shelter. We can be safe where we otherwise would be at peril.
But now the National Weather Service is only putting out alerts in English. The agency declined an interview, but sent a statement saying they paused the translation service, quote, due to a contract lapse.
We got a tornado!
It comes as experts warn of more extreme weather due to climate change.
The whole planet is affected, and that means no place is really exempt.
Arguing that access to weather alerts is vital.
It doesn't have to be an extreme event to be a matter of public health and safety.
Translated text on the National Weather Service website has now been disabled. Reporting in Los Angeles, I'm Maribel Gonzalez.
Graduation courts and new federal marijuana rules, what they mean and why they matter. Your update starts right after the break. Stay tuned. Graduation is right around the corner, and one student club is using those coveted senior cords as an incentive to save lives. The group End Overdose is handing out cords to seniors who stop by the UMC to get trained on how to prevent opioid overdoses. That includes how to recognize the signs and how to properly administer Narcan, a medication that can reverse the effects of an overdose. It's a quick lesson that can make all the difference. And before they leave, students also get stickers to help spread awareness, with the hope that what they've learned really sticks.
The Justice Department officially proposed a new rule on Thursday that would reclassify marijuana as a Schedule III drug, a policy move that would ease restrictions on cannabis at the federal level if ultimately approved. It would change the classification from its Schedule I to Schedule III status and would put it on par with substances like ketamine and anabolic steroids. After 60 days, officials will make a final determination before the rule is officially published.
April 20th in Colorado can mean a different celebration for different people. For many, it's a chance to celebrate Earth Day and bring awareness to protect our planet. For others, it's a sober day to remember the tragedy of Columbine. And for cannabis users, it's a day to be themselves. NewsTeam reporter Jordan Cummings is in 5 Points, Denver to tell us more.
I'm getting here on the first day of Cannabis Weekend, a part of Cannabis Week here in Denver, Colorado. As you can see, things are just gearing up. And even though the weather has been cold, the mood has been high. While local vendors and various reps from dispensaries were there the whole time, every day had a different focus. Day 1 was local hip-hop artists closing with Devin the Dude. Day 2 was a more band-oriented and ended with one of Bob Marley's sons, legendary Kai Monty Marley. And Day 3 ended with the comedy of TJ Miller. It's not all fun and games, though.
It takes a lot to set it up and tear it down. A lot of people think that it just appears and just magically pops up and starts to work.
So here we are at the end of another 420 weekend, and as you can see, things are being torn down. It was a 3-day event full of everything you can imagine for every kind of person. And the one thing I can say is no one got hurt, no one died, and no one overdosed. Just something to think about. Back to you guys.
I'm Adair Tootin.
I'm Emma Kane.
And I'm Emma Stanfill.
Have a safe and healthy week, buffs.
Oh, and one more thing. We'd like to thank our news director, Paul.
We love you, Paul.